Yesterday, I got a chance to play this new game that you guys are seeing on screen. This video is an early look into Assault Sector, an indie game being developed by FragPulse. The developers are fans of the channel and have reached out to sponsor a video. But wait, I have to read a snippet from this briefing that was sent to me because this may be the first time that a group of devs are this direct and honest with me. So they said that we want to stress that we're not nitpicky about what BigFry wants to say. The three original co-founders are longtime subscribers, and we know Dustin, that's me, for his really honest, often brutal takes. We love that approach. We know we've got to do better, and we will. So this video is sponsored, and they want me to be as direct and brutal as possible. So let's do that. Welcome to a brutal and unforgiving PvP arena shooter. With a unique pulse wall hack ability, camping is impossible. Pure adrenaline all the time, a throwback to the golden era of classic FPS games. This isn't my words, this is theirs. Assault Sector is an FPS that brings the pulse wall hack mechanic directly to everyone in the game. Right off the bat, when I heard this, I thought, that's gonna turn some people off. And that's also one of the things that I brought up to them during the playtest. Like, how do you explain this for people who don't get it or don't like it? And their response was basically, well, it's not for them. We believe that it stops campers, it solves an issue of slower matches because it gives players the ability to really push the pace. And I thought, shit, I mean, yeah, when you put it like that, sure. With 100 hertz server tick rates, infinite stamina, wall hack pulses, and a myriad of different weapons from ARs to SMGs, LMGs, and snipers, with plans for the future release being on Steam, these guys are putting on a showcase on, in my opinion, how to develop an indie FPS right. Now, the build I got to play was definitely an older build. They told me it was almost a year old, so any critiques that I do have for the game have either most likely been solved or are on the chopping block before launch. And I brought some of my moderators in, and we were all playing together with some of the developers, and we were asking them questions, we were critiquing, we were talking about certain things that they decided to do in terms of map design or weapon balancing, and they were open and honest with everything. The game is scheduled for a Q1 2024 release, meaning we're kind of in this middle area limbo where the build we played is actually incredibly polished, and there's still so much time for things to either be fixed, added, tweaked, and made ready for launch. And one of the best things about these devs is they follow the channel, and right on their store page is a block about transparency and how they really do want to listen to feedback. In my time running around the game in modes like free-for-all, I actually had a pretty good time. It's very early, and there's really no content in the build that we played outside of loadout customization, one map, two modes, which are free-for-all and TDM, but the core game itself, which is pretty much all I had to focus on here, felt really good. 100 hertz on the tick rate made the shots connect very well. The hit reg is really nice. The reload animations, solid as hell. The weapon models look really good too. The map design definitely left something to be desired. A lot of shot angles to different windows and a lot of randomly placed trucks and crates that create a plethora of different lanes to run in. But for the most part, my biggest complaint would probably be the lighting. The map has a lot of color to it and what looks to be a lot of brightness, but it all felt a little muddy and contrasted, and dark areas that are darker than they should be compared to the characters that are running around. It was sometimes tough to actually see what was going on screen. The pulse ability is very cool, and I want to see more emphasis on game modes that put the pulse into either an economy of sorts or something where it's a little bit more limited. Something like a search and destroy mode where everybody on your team gets like one pulse a round or even one pulse a game. So if you waste it, you can't get it back. It would push teams to coordinate and communicate whose pulse is using at the right time, which I think it could actually be really cool. This game is going to come with modes like Domination and TDM and all of those modes that we've seen 100 times over. I do need some unique stuff with this one. The devs have explained a mode to me called Meat Grinder, which is apparently going to be a 64-player attack and defense style game where defenders can place barricades and turrets and barbed wire, and eventually they're going to lose. But the winner of the game is the team who can attack and complete the objective the fastest. The way it was explained sounded kind of like Rainbow Six, but with this pulse hack ability and with a more fast-paced kind of Call of Duty gameplay style. It sounded cool, but there's no official posts or details, so things might change, and I can't like be like, this is gonna be sweet, because I don't actually know. And that's one of the big criticisms of me doing this video. It's like, you want me to showcase the game, you want me to play it, but at the same time, you give me a build that's almost a year old. Why? Why am I not playing up-to-date stuff? And the reason they gave me, this was the first question I had for them, was that they're still just working on it. And what they want to do is they want to introduce the game to everybody. And then when it's ready to be shown in its new state, they can be like, look, those videos were like a year ago. Look at the progress that we have made in just, you know, a year. And then also the game's releasing in Q1 of 2024. So they have like another 9 or 8 months to get this game ready to go, even past what they've already done. I get the strategy, but at the same time, I feel like if I'm showing this to an audience that wants to play and wants to look at new indie FPSs, you want to put your best foot forward. That was, again, one of my first questions. Why aren't we doing it? I think they might have missed the mark a little bit here, but at the same time, this is what they wanted to do. They wanted me to say my honest opinions on absolutely everything. The way that their maps are being designed, at least the one that I was able to play, it's a little bit basic. It's a little bit bare bones, not a lot of props. A lot of the lanes that are being broken down from props are just trucks and crates. I want to see better design maps with more objects and more things to look at, so it's not just all the same. But for an indie FPS that's trying to go for this kind of Call of Duty, faster paced feel, you know, a little bit more spongy, but not so like Division level spongy, I actually think these guys have a really solid product here. The guns feel good. They feel punchy. The recoil feels like older Call of Duties. And it's funny because in contrast to the video I just made a few days ago from XDefiant, it's crazy because my expectations are completely opposite for these two games. I went into XDefiant hoping to see a AAA product, and I didn't feel like I got it. I went into Assault Sector expecting something kind of mediocre, and while it's early and while there's not a lot of content there, the core game itself actually feels really good. And this is from a team from the UK of 3 people who have gotten just a small investment. They have almost a 0 budget, and they're doing things that some AAA developers cannot pull off. While at the same time, I know that this pulse wall hack mechanic is going to push a lot of people away right off the bat. And the thing is they know it too. I brought it up to them and they already expect that to happen. They said their expectation with this game is to not blow up and sell millions of copies. They just kind of want to start getting a fan base together to play the game, support them, and then when they go on to other projects, they're just kind of working their way up. The cool thing about this game is when it comes out on Steam, there will be like a Founders Edition, and they said they're looking at about $10 to $15. But if you don't want to support that, the game is going to be completely free to play. They've assured me as well that there will be no pay to win. They do want to do some cosmetic battle passes, but at the same time, they don't believe in microtransactions out the ass, so they're not even going to be running that up. They just want a core community of people to support their future endeavors, and I think that's pretty admirable. That is the way you go into game development. You start with a small budget, and you just kind of hope for the best. One of the things in this briefing that I thought was actually really interesting is they said that we've gotten some very lucrative offers thrown at us during our pitching and fundraising stage. We rejected every single one that would have forced us to make the game grind to win, pay to win, or completely inaccessible for non-paying players. That's the norm for indies looking for funds. And as somebody who is going through my own journey with talking with publishers and investors, they're absolutely right. They said they're very, very stubborn about their core values. We will never betray our players, and you'll see that. We're aiming to create a studio that pumps out high-quality games. This isn't a one-trick pony. We're aiming to stay in the industry for years. The developers have requested 3 things of me. 1, that you follow their Twitter and start helping them build out their social media presence. I'll have that link down below. 2, wishlist the game on Steam so that you can follow along with updates, news, all of that stuff. And then when it comes out, you do get notified. And then 3, join their Discord. I think their plan is to start doing community playtesting events. I might be wrong on that. I think they mentioned it during our playtest, but just get in their Discord if you want to follow along with everything that these guys are doing. I really don't know if this game is going to be a hit. It feels good to play. I actually had a lot of fun with it, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that kind of gravitate towards this kind of game, especially one that is as polished as this game is in its current state. But it's a matter of getting people used to that wall hack mechanic. We've seen it in plenty of different games, but it's usually like a one operator thing where they can pop it for a second and that's it. I think the only other game that had a pulse like this where everybody can kind of utilize it would have been something like Blacklight Retribution. I'll leave you guys with this. It's very, very early. They wanted me to introduce it to you guys, so if you want to follow along, all of their links are going to be down in the description below. I want to thank the guys at FragPulse for sponsoring a video, but also just being as direct and communicative in the briefing that you guys have done. I have done a lot of sponsored videos where they tell you to be honest, but then they don't actually really tell you much about what they want you to talk about or what the gameplay features are. It's more of just like, hey, play the game, here you go. These guys gave me a very detailed briefing into a lot of the things that they're doing, and I actually really respect it. These guys obviously watch the fucking channel, and it shows in everything that they're doing. So if you guys do want to support, go follow along. And if you guys do want to play Assault Sector, just keep an eye out. You might get to do it soon. My name is BigFry. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.